Roguelikes, the game genre that can be described as Sisyphus and The Rock. These types of games are designed in a manner in which they are achievable to beat, but with great struggle. Although the genre is defined by its repetitive nature and difficulty, part of the appeal is exactly that, starting over. Since you never know what different approach might land you the win or be another attempt ended too soon. One key word to keep in mind for the video is again. Damn it. One more. This is the run. One of the most common fears in the world is failure. Yet roguelikes are the only genre that seem to incentivize losing. Whether it be through unlockables to make future attempts easier, unlocking characters, or just having you get good. Although it's a simple gameplay loop, there's plenty of room for creativity and for stories to be told using If you were wronged in your life, like I'm sure many of us have, what would you do with a chance at settling the score? But losing means some of your time and a bit of coin. Those are the stakes that take place within Sifu, the means for revenge. We never get an actual name to our protagonist throughout our quest for revenge, and the reason for that is simple. We don't need one. We just have one singular purpose: revenge. Within Sifu, there is more information about the men and women you're hunting than about yourself in this world. I believe there's a point to be made here. That even if the world seems devoid of detail, or even changing around you as you fight your targets, our character, us, don't ever change. Only our age as we fail and try again, as we later learn. We then focus and become obsessed with our target and the level, learning its ins and outs until we find our flow. Pressing forward until we conquer the concrete jungle, a burning temple hidden in the neon, brave the floods of the museum, handle corporate America, and lastly, handle a self-help guru as our final boss. Sifu shows us that although the game is allowing you to keep moving forward, there are no immediate repercussions for getting up and going again. However, after enough brute force, you could wear down any mountain, but sometimes to a great sacrifice to other aspects of yourself. Now mind you, I'm not just talking about Sifu and the following other games in this video to spoil them. These games that are being shown are all roguelikes, and they all have one thing in common: you will fail. There is a near impossible chance for anyone to perfect run, hitless, or deathless the game on their first attempt at any of these games. They're almost designed with the certainty that you will need to adapt and learn from all your previous failures. However, we can't end on a loss, especially not since our master and father was beat by none other than ourselves. Well, you actually are introduced to the world of Sifu from the eyes of Yang, a disgruntled ex-disciple of our master, whose only goal is to destroy said master, which we do get to accomplish, but not without planting the seed of revenge in the generation to come. Briefly after realizing we can quick revive and have the element of surprise at hand, since
my death was greatly exaggerated,
which leads a young man or woman, these hands don't judge, on the only reasonable path, revenge. Hope our disciple carries Benadryl, since we're going to beat the pollen out of the botanist and his goons. Once you begin the first proper introduction of Sifu, it becomes apparent this game is going to have a bit of a learning curve, which is represented by the skill tree you have access to every time you die, or rest at the dojo. Let's be honest though, pretty much only when we die. Each level throws at you new threats and combos to read. If not, coins will start to disappear. Sifu could be beaten without ever losing, and it turns to a constant flow of bone, flesh, and steel connecting. The way to achieve that level of gameplay isn't through hitting a level cap or getting all skills, but becoming one's own Sifu at the game. Narratively, all the roguelikes we'll be talking about don't just have your fail state be a glorified checkpoint. They make you learn the game, and not just have to button mash to get through it, but to actually learn the combat. As for Sifu, the story of one's revenge can always be thrilling, but I feel there's something more to learn out of forgiveness, especially if we don't know the whole story, which is usually the case in most instances. Ultimately, the theme that Sifu shows us is that although revenge could be the most readily available option we have at our disposal, that doesn't mean the shortest path has to be the one always chosen. The choice is up to the player at the end to choose which route to take. Either way, both involve a lot of time ticking by. Unless you've got the hang of the game by now, Sifu wants you to fail. It's crafted that way in order to reward the player with knowledge, which keeps one engaged, because with each failure, it makes when we succeed all the sweeter. I hate high kick moves faster than lightning and queen. I sort of fuck.
Who's that Pokemon?
Zagarius!
Oh no, he's hot!
Hades, the name of the game, literally, whether it be for the big man himself or the location, who can tell. Though, one thing's for sure, you're not getting out of the Greek underworld without making some visits to the Pool of Styx along the way. The focus of our journey set in the mythical world of Greece is that we have to get revenge for the family we butchered, while under the influence of the god of war. Oh, sorry, I got confused. I've been to Greece once before, but it looks all so different now. It's a tale as old as time, developing the desire for freedom, and at times, one must cast off comfort in order to go ahead and find said freedom. Zagarius is our own main focus of the story, and from the offset we can tell he has, let's say, some family issues currently going on. With the help of some fanfiction inducing extended relatives, you're off to wander the world of Greece above. That's if you can best the entirety of the underworld on the way up to do so. Hades has a special place in my heart for roguelikes. Hell, I've gotten 3 different copies to play, so I always have options to play it in. The reasoning? Simple. Synergy. Builds in this game manifest themselves off the greatest system that is present in gaming. That's right, RNGesus. All jokes aside though, Hades doesn't make you feel at any point that the game is outright dooming your run. It might feel like that in the first few runs, but like myself, upon later runs I realized that it was more of a user error than mechanics being bad. There is a tiny learning curve, but nothing that holds back the enjoyment of figuring out the flow to this game. From the gameplay to the aesthetics, Hades has a lot of love and care put into it in order to achieve the balance that's present here. The story, although not world-ending, presents us the player with a young man who just misses his mother and hopes to find her one day, while being under the care of an emotionally distant father, which you can tell cares, albeit never communicating it in a healthy way.
何をしてる？立てよ父さん。忘れたのか？何をしにここに来たのか？
That's all you need sometimes to convey your story. Just a simple, grounded problem that a lot of everyday people can relate to. Which is also to say, it's not a negative if the world building or social linking in the game happens to be written very well. Zagarius wishes to find his mother, even against his father's demands, which although his father doesn't seem to do it due to malicious intent, does everything he can to prevent our excursion out of our own home, limiting Zagarius' freedom. Which of course means we'll do the same even if it means calling other gods, legends, or wonder how he got here, in for the assist. Then, of course, if the game's too easy for you, like myself, once you beat it enough times you unlock packs, Basically, modifiers to make your rise from the bottom even harder on the way up, for when you really ride on the get good mentality. In short, win or lose, in Hades, the game makes you want to keep doing runs, not only to get Sigarius out, and so he can reach his freedom, but to see how the relationship of his family plays out as we play further, almost making the gameplay secondary and making the story be what is the main element to focus on. There isn't much else I can say about Hades without spoiling dialogue or interactions in the game, but definitely a roguelike to check out. What does Brotherhood mean to you? Who cares? We're here to get our loot back and get paid for it. After the events of Risk of Rain, a squad is sent to get the contents of the previous UES Contact Light to find any of the survivors and cargo that might have survived the wreckage. Now, any disturbances from the wildlife around the planet just happen to be coincidental. There are multiple goals you can aim for from the offset of your first run. Find items around the map, get chests, drones, but never, and I mean never, explore. Because the planet isn't your only enemy, so is
This is going to end in violence!
the clock. It mocks you as it makes the run harder the longer you take to end it, since it's the unstoppable force, and you, although heavy, are a movable object. The world isn't trying to hunt you down because it's outwardly evil towards you. If anything, you're the one raining down on their own natural habitats, and along with destroying the balance of a world. Accidentally, mind you, had it not already been put in jeopardy by two brothers first, and their lack of kinship or brotherhood. However, just like the game itself, that narrative isn't the initial draw. It's the gameplay, similar to the Dark Souls approach. Gameplay over story. Believe me, the story is worth checking out in order to remember what brotherhood means. But that's not our current goal. It's the loot. This doesn't mean quality was sacrificed in either, but more so you can tell where the focus was placed. There are plenty of PvE games out now that upset their fan base with nerfs or updates that are implemented to fix balancing. Yet most of the time those changes negatively tend to impact player experience, unless actually game breaking. Huh, well that wasn't supposed to happen. Could it have been the balancing? Nope, just our own loot. Risk of Rain throws the notion of your enemies having rights out the window and sends us back to before the signing of the Geneva Convention, all through the simple use of one mechanic that seems to rarely be used properly, the limit break. And believe me, in Risk of Rain, we don't expect drizzle, we expect a monsoon. Item stacking is a mechanic not uncommon in other games that use buffs or nerfs as a game mechanic, and oftentimes are used to round out a build. Hoppo Games, however, said make sure you end up carrying an umbrella because it looks like there's a risk of items. Like Soldier Syringe, for example, it gives you 10% attack speed boost per item at a cap at 100%. Or there's items like Tougher Times that theoretically can't get to 100% no matter the amount of Tougher Times you have equipped. Which brings the player oneself, you,
Who are you?
You!
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you!
Just answer the damn question.
to ask one question. If you can get endless items every run, how can I still lose? Could be a few things. Lack of items, too slow, no synergies, and etc, etc. But at the end of the day, it's okay to take a long, deep breath and just say, let's go play in the rain. Two words come to mind, and they aren't the title of the game, Darkest Dungeon, but rather, good luck. Because as someone who takes pride in finishing difficult games, this has been the only game that's ever stumped me. I've had hundreds of hours on different accounts for this one game alone. Not once have I cleared it, and that's why I love it. No hand-holding, just perseverance. Or lose. Oh well, glad we're finally home. Ah, well shit. There's plenty of games that will paint the hero's journey as one of gold and glory, not reflecting on the fact that heroes aren't ethereal. They can be weak of mind, fall to disease, or worse, fail in their own journey. That's normally true, but made worse when beasts of eldritch origin, bloodsuckers, and creatures of celestial origin are part of what you're entrusted to eliminate in order to bring peace to the estate. Along the journey, our heroes or mercenaries all come from different backgrounds and wish only for two things: a purpose and shelter. Many of the heroes you find along your travels may already be wasting away to sickness of the mind or even bodily sickness, which if affordable can certainly be fixed. But what good is the help of a man without coin? Yet heroes are not defined by their afflictions, but the actions they take despite them, or rise above them when needed most, which hopefully is now. Darkest Dungeon, to say the least, is unforgiving as a roguelike, not due to it being unbalanced, but oftentimes just lack of game knowledge. Basically, a skill issue and the odd crit here and there. Knowing is half the battle in this case, but we're not here to break down everything the world of Darkest Dungeon has to offer, just its core theme, perseverance. Also, the music and narration are absolutely fantastic. Props to the team and Wayne June for the amazing voice.
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
Chills every time, man. Time over time, you will lose heroes even if they are high level and min-maxed. Much like real life, there's rarely any, if ever, a way of seeing these heroes again. The game is turn-based, which really lets you feel the brunt of messing up what you assumed would be a perfect turn. There's no guarantee of success in any of your runs, and it gets even worse the further you progress, but it's not impossible. Whether drenched in your own blood, covered in blight, or your heart giving away, our heroes keep moving forward because that's what a real hero does. No matter what the strife and pain involved, they will always persevere. How am I certain? Because despite everything, it's always been you. Controlling the party, I mean. No mushy feelings here, just brave the darkness and push through, for there are even moments of light that pierce through the veil of darkness to light one's way.
Send this one to journey elsewhere, for we have need of sterner stock.
Enough with the doom and gloom. Let's focus on the topic on everyone's mind since the invention of the fidget spinner. Dopamine. Sorry, I misread the title of this section. Balatro. If you haven't heard of it by now, Balatro is a card roguelike that took the gaming world by storm as of late, being nominated in 2024 for Game of the Year. Premise? Simple. You just have to sum up your chips to the amount desired within a certain number of hands. What could possibly make that Game of the Year? Believe me, you have no idea. Somehow, Locothunk, the developer, struck gold by literally giving a poker deck the Chess 2.0 treatment. Little did anyone know, even Locothunk, that in just a short amount of time after releasing, everyone was going to be wanting a copy of Balatro. Balatro made a rather big splash on the gaming scene almost one day to the next. It was clear Balatro was a dopamine machine, and all you needed was a one-time $20 buy-in, and that's it. No microtransactions or banners announcing other games that aren't the one you're playing. Dopamine, the type of neurotransmitter that gets abused by the gaming industry currently. Its definition also seems to share images with Balatro, so basically they're twins. That wasn't the right meme. We've lost the plot. Whether it be through a hodgepodge of battle passes or seeing what skin to buy next, I'm looking at you, Horse Armor. Still not over how dirty you did me.
Not at that moment. I wasn't sorry. I wasn't sorry then. No.
Witty banter to the side. Balatro understands its player. There is no big bad or antagonist, just you, the deck, and the score. How could I forget? There's also Jimbo and himself, his family. It's never really explained, but we don't have to know. Balatro isn't a game to dissect. It's a game you experience. That's the takeaway from Balatro. Under the solar system, the tarot, or hitting the wheel every single time it appears, because you know.
Gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
That part of the script isn't just a meme, by the way. Local Thunk actually wrote in his will that no company will ever use Balatro to try to make money out of it by using it for gambling. Have you ever seen Local Thunk and the Titan Prometheus in the same room? No, that's because they're the same person dropping heat on mankind and not even asking for a thank you. There is plenty of gameplay and fun elements to Balatro I could go on about, seriously, whether it be the insane Joker abilities, the tarot card assists, or my plea to the Emperor of Mankind. Just kidding. Also, just a side note, there are different decks to collect that only unlock the challenges, and as an achievement hunter, that's the good stuff. Even though my thoughts on Balatro might be short, there is a key takeaway I'm trying to focus on when talking about it. Enjoyability. That's the reward of the resetting in Balatro. From my own time playing and seeing others do runs at times, Balatro doesn't make you feel at fault for a failed run. Oftentimes, the feeling you get is, let's do one more. Video ain't over yet, but close. There are a great deal of roguelikes out there, now more than ever, which makes me really happy, which is neat, because gamers aren't afraid of a challenge. However, that's why I decided to make this video, so that I can focus on the allure of roguelikes, as well as the message that is implemented within most of this genre. Fail, 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 and fail again. It doesn't change the fact that we never know before we start a run that it'll be the one. So I'll end the video with this. Don't fear failure, because the moment you do, success disappears. Whether we're talking about roguelikes or life right now, it doesn't change the message. Keep trying and succeed. And remember, as always,
be safe, friend. Don't you dare go alone.
Don't give up. Challenge again. A new opponent is ready to face you.